Have you ever woken up in the morning feeling like your body's a rusted-out machine that needs oil just to get moving? You try to get out of bed, but there's a crunch in your knees and stiffness in your fingers. And your belly? It's hard as a drum, and no amount of crunches or dieting seems to touch it. You think it's just fat. But what if I told you that this fat isn't fat at all, but a dense, toxic salt trap? Your body is literally being cemented from the inside. Imagine this. Every time you eat certain foods, your body can't clear out the uric acid fast enough. It begins to crystallize, turning into microscopic, sharp needles. These salt needles hide in your joints, causing pain, and settle in the space around your midsection, drawing in liters of excess dirty water just to dilute the concentration. That is the exact weight that makes you feel sluggish, heavy, and bloated. But I have found a way to dissolve this cement. This isn't trendy pharmacy chemicals, it's the simple power of celery seeds. They contain a substance that acts on these salt deposits just like hot water acts on an ice cube. As soon as this salt glue dissolves, your body literally lets go of those 10 to 15 pounds of water weight you've been mistaking for fat for years. This isn't magic, it's pure biology of cleansing. You will see how your joints become mobile, how the pain fades, and how your belly starts to deflate simply because you removed the root cause that was holding on to that extra weight. But there's a trap. If you brew these seeds with boiling water or take them the wrong way, you'll only get stomach upset. Watch until the end, and I will show you the salt dissolution protocol that will bring back the lightness you've only dreamed of for the last decade. Are you ready to hear how your body actually works? Let's begin. I still remember the day I realized I was turning into a stone statue. It wasn't one specific moment, but a slow, agonizing fade that robbed me of everything: mobility, joy, and the very will to live. Remember that morning when you stand up and a sharp, stinging pain shoots through your foot, as if you stepped on nails scattered under the bed? I was convinced it was just aging, that joint wear and tear was inevitable, and I had to resign myself to starting every single morning with a painkiller that tore up my stomach. But the scariest part wasn't the pain, it was how my body was changing. It felt like it was swelling from within. My belly wasn't fat in the usual sense, it was tight, like a drum, and if you pressed a finger into it, a deep, pale dent would stay there for a long time. I drank liters of water, thinking I was flushing toxins, but it only got worse. I bloated even more. My hands every morning looked like inflated rubber gloves, and rings wouldn't fit over my knuckles. I was trapped in my own body, which held on to every drop of fluid, binding it with an invisible, incredibly strong salt glue. I didn't understand then that this glue, uric acid, doesn't just hold water, it deposits in joints, tendons, and delicate tissues, turning them into something like a coral reef. I was a salt prisoner. Every diet I tried led to no weight loss, but to even greater thirst and new swelling. I felt like a person trying to escape from quicksand. The more I moved, the more painful my joints became. The less I ate, the more my belly blew up. It was a state of complete metabolic stagnation. My herbalist mentor said a phrase that still rings in my head. "Val, you can't lose weight as long as your joints and tissues are locked in a salt prison. Your body is holding on to this stone weight as a shield against the pain those salt crystals cause. Dissolve the salts and the water will leave on its own, without effort." When I first tried the celery seed infusion, I expected a miracle overnight. Instead, something else happened. On the third day, the ebb tide began. I started using the restroom more often, and every time I could see my belly measurements literally sliding down. It wasn't fat, it was that salt water trapped inside by uric acid crystals. After a week, the pain in my knees became dull and distant, and after a month, I put on my old jeans that hadn't zipped for 7 years. It wasn't just weight loss, it was liberation. I realized my old age and my extra weight were just a defensive reaction to internal clogging. Today, I will show you minute by minute this process, how exactly uric acid cements your belly, why plain water won't help here, and how a small spoonful of celery seeds can wash away those 10 to 15 pounds of salt glue that make you heavy and sluggish. This is a story of how one simple change can return the lightness you thought was lost forever. We'll start with the most important part, how this glue forms and why our protocol is the only way to dissolve it without side effects. Let's look deep into the heart of our protocol, into the secret laboratory where nature prepares its best tool for cleansing your joints and belly. Hidden in celery seeds are amazing, almost magical substances, terpenes and essential compounds. Science studies them as powerful antiseptics and diuretics, but for us they are real, living solvents for the salt cement that poisons our lives. Imagine for a moment what is happening inside every one of your joints right now, in your lower back, your knees, or that very dense, stony belly you can't get rid of with diets or exercise. Over the years, our body loses the ability to effectively clear out uric acid, the end product of breaking down our own cells and the food we eat. This acid, if there's too much of it, doesn't just float in the blood, it begins to crystallize. It turns into microscopic, sharp needles that literally scratch your tissues from the inside, causing inflammation, pain and swelling. But the most insidious part is this salt glue. The body, trying to protect itself from these sharp crystals, does the only thing it can. It starts flooding them with water to dilute the acid concentration and reduce pain. This is called osmotic swelling. You think you've gained fat, you think you're bloated, but in reality, your belly is a huge sponge soaked in salt water held around those crystals. Tartronic acid and the active components of celery seeds work like an incredibly soft yet incredibly powerful chemical cleaner. They act at the molecular level, literally enveloping the salt crystals and turning them into a soluble form that the kidneys can easily flush out. When this salt glue starts to dissolve under the action of our infusion, your water, that very excess water that was weighing you down and making you puffy, finally gets the chance to leave your body. Celery seeds are a broom for your joints and tissues. While other methods try to target fat, this elixir targets the very structure of your swollen armor. You will notice something amazing. A couple of days after starting, your clothes will fit looser, even though you didn't starve yourself. That means your tissues have started giving back the stagnant fluid that was previously locked by the salt frame. If you've spent your life relying on pharmacy diuretics, know this: they are dangerous. They flush out essential minerals, and after you stop, the swelling returns double strength. Our infusion works differently. It doesn't force water out, it dissolves the glue that holds it. Your liver, which has been working to the point of exhaustion trying to cope with this salt chaos, suddenly sighs of relief. You will notice that even your complexion will change by the end of the first week. That eternal morning puffiness will disappear, and your skin will become more elastic because it's no longer stretched by water. Now, I will show you under a microscope how molecules of celery seed substances surround uric acid crystals and turn them into a soft solution that will be removed from your body forever. This is a restoration process that returns your lightness of gait and the slim waist you could only dream of. Imagine how a flow of clean, vital moisture starts running through your body again like in your youth, not getting stuck in salt traps, but freely washing every cell. This is the very foundation upon which your weight loss, your mobility, and your glowing health are built. Without this cleansing, all attempts to lose weight will just be a temporary mask, not a real solution to your main problem.
Listen to me very carefully, my golden ones. We are moving to the most important stage, the one without which your infusion will remain just bitter water, not the health key we're searching for. Many of you think, Val, what difference does it make where I buy these celery seeds? They're all the same. No, my dear ones. The difference between what's sold in spice packets and what your body needs is massive, and it could cost you your health. You could grab any pack from the spice aisle, but if you don't know the main rule, you won't get medicine, but a chemical product that will make your stomach rebel instead of working on cleansing. The secret of any great healer is flawless quality of raw materials. If you buy seeds that have been industrially processed, polished, or worse, treated with chemicals for long shelf life and shine, you aren't bringing home healing, but another dose of chemistry that will only add work to your already exhausted liver. A seed is not just a condiment, it's life, a whole biological system locked away. The plant, like a huge living sponge, absorbs everything from the soil and air. You want to cleanse and dissolve salt stones, not poison yourself further. Therefore, look only for whole celery seeds that look like tiny brownish-green striped gems, clean, without dust or foreign odours. The second rule that cannot be broken is protecting their living coat. Look at these seeds closely. They have a dense protective shell that nature created specifically so the seed could pass through the aggressive environment of your stomach where acid is boiling and unlock its true power only where it is needed, in the small intestine. How do you do this right? You don't need to crush them. You don't need to grind them into dust in a coffee grinder, like many do, hoping to boost the effect. You will just kill their soul, turning them into an aggressive, burning substance that will scorch your esophagus before they start working. Swallow them whole. And remember, buy them from trusted places where you are sure of the supplier's honesty. When you bring them home, be sure to move them into a glass jar with a tight lid. Light and moisture are the main enemies of our tartronic acid. If the seeds get even slightly damp, a process of essential oil oxidation begins instantly, and instead of a salt dissolver, you get a bitter, spoiled product that will only cause digestive irritation and extra load on your pancreas. We must prepare our raw materials so not a drop of chemicals or dust remains. Any speck of dust will cause only unpleasant irritation of the mucous membrane, and we need a powerful healing impulse for the entire organism. Now I will show you under a macro camera the difference between dead seeds sold in the cooking spice aisle and real living seeds that have preserved all their energy to fight uric acid stones. You will see how the energy literally pulses in the live seed, ready to pass into your body. But remember, keep them in a dark, cool place in a tightly sealed glass jar so light doesn't destroy their beneficial properties. We're preparing for a real breakthrough, my golden ones, so pay close attention to every detail. In the next block, I will teach you exactly how to take these seeds, how to calculate the golden ratio so they work as a real key to your health and not just as an irritant to your gut. We're preparing for a major metabolic restart where there is no room for mistakes, so every action you take must be precise and accurate so your body responds with gratitude and rapid weight loss.
Now, my golden ones, when we have lovingly and attentively selected the best, cleanest, most full-bodied celery seeds, let's learn how to take them by all the rules of the ancient healers. This isn't just eating a spoonful of spice, as many are used to thinking when they generously sprinkle seasoning into soup. This is a real, almost sacred morning, or rather metabolic ritual, that requires the precision of an apothecary. The proportions here are as important as in the manufacturing of the most expensive, complex medicine. I take exactly 1 teaspoon of whole celery seeds, not a heap, not a pinch, but exactly 1 level, tightly packed spoonful. Attention, you must ensure that not a single seed is crushed or cracked. The seed's shell is your metabolic safe that reliably protects your stomach from unnecessary burning. If you chew even 1 seed, you'll immediately feel the powerful essential oils beginning to burn your tongue and esophageal walls, and we don't need that at all. We are working subtly, at a deep physiological level, acting exactly where the salt deposits have stagnated. I pour this spoonful into my palm, and attention, now comes the biggest secret that only old herbalists knew, passing it down from generation to generation as a family heirloom. We do not wash these seeds down with ice-cold tap water. If the water is ice-cold, it will instantly trigger a stomach spasm, and your precious seeds will simply get stuck in the esophagus, unable to reach the intestine. The optimal temperature for our ritual is exactly 122 degrees Fahrenheit, 50 degrees Celsius. That is the exact moment when the water has just stopped being scalding and you feel pleasant, soft warmth like from fresh milk. This water soothes the mucous membrane, prepares it for the seeds, and helps them slide smoothly to where they will begin their amazing work, deep in the small intestine. Immediately after the seeds are in your mouth, wash them down with a full glass of this warm, living water. We need them to go the entire length of the esophagus without stopping for a second, so they bypass the aggressive stomach acid and find themselves in exactly the right environment where the process of dissolving uric acid begins. Look at how these seeds look in the glass. They are like little pearls that will now embark on their long and important journey through your body. While they stand in the water for those few seconds, the essential oils inside the seed are under the reliable protection of the shell. They mix with the water, forming the very healing emulsion that will work in your body like a real internal torch. Now I will show you under a macro camera what these perfect seeds you need to prepare look like. This isn't just food, this is your defense, your personal trigger mechanism of metabolism that won't let a single gram of salt glue turn into extra folds on your waistline. In the next block, we'll break down the schedule, why you shouldn't drink this infusion and immediately sit down for lunch, and the catastrophic mistake those who rush through life make, not giving our fat blocker time to distribute evenly through the gut. Are you ready to become your own furnace, ready to melt stagnation into energy? Then listen to me very carefully. Many of you, my golden ones, make the same heartbreaking and fatal mistake.
You swallow this spoon of priceless celery seeds, wash them down with warm water, and 5 minutes later run to the kitchen, turn on the kettle, butter your toast, or fill your plate with a hot bowl of porridge or potatoes. You mustn't do that. Please hear me. You must maintain a pause of exactly 30 minutes. This is a law that cannot be broken if you want to get results, not just waste time and overload your stomach. In these 30 minutes, an invisible, subtle, almost jeweler-like work happens inside your body that you don't even suspect. Your celery seed infusion is not food. It's a liquid key to triggering deep dissolution of salts. They must pass through the stomach safely and descend lower into the small intestine to begin their warm work far away from stomach acid, heating you from within and preparing to meet your food. If you add any other food, even the lightest yogurt, a piece of cheese or an apple, your stomach will instantly give the command, "Attention, food has arrived, begin digestion," and all the juices, all the enzymes, all the stomach's energy will be directed toward breaking down proteins and carbohydrates. Your celery seeds, instead of quietly reaching their destination, will be buried under a mass of food. They won't be able to unlock their potential. They won't be able to trigger that very internal bonfire we dream of. These 30 minutes are the time for your metabolic restart. Your liver, your gallbladder, and your intestinal villi receive a signal. Attention, preparation for blocking the salt glue has begun. Engage safety systems. They start actively preparing to stop excess uric acid from reaching the tissues and joints. If you swallow the seeds and start chewing immediately, this signal is completely overridden by the chaos of digestion. Your blood will be busy processing calories, not eliminating the harmful processes that have been accumulating in you for years. A glass of water with these thermal seeds is a clear, unambiguous command to your body. Stop sleeping, stop hoarding garbage in the form of salt deposits, start burning and flushing out. When you finally sit down to eat after half an hour, your gut will be fully ready to accept food correctly. The body will start extracting energy from each piece of food with incredible efficiency, not storing a single gram in the salt glue on your waist. You are setting the rhythm of your metabolism for the entire day ahead. You aren't just drinking water with seeds, you are resetting the entire organism, changing the very program your every cell lives by. Breakfast or lunch after such preparation will be fully absorbed, without remainder, without that heavy feeling we've all, unfortunately, gotten used to after 60. This is your morning tuning, your morning prayer for your health. See how the energy level changes after such a pause. You won't feel drowsiness after eating. You will feel true life waking up inside you. You will fly, not walk, and this feeling of internal warmth and lightness will become your constant companion if you just remember that 30-minute pause. It's a small sacrifice for a great goal, so your body finally starts working for you, not against you.
Let's now, my dear ones, explain as simply but as deeply as possible what exactly happens inside your body when these small, unassuming seeds pass through your digestive tract, minute by minute, step by step. Imagine your joints and intercellular space. These are our most important, most significant vital highways, which over the years, sadly, get clogged with that very salt glue.
We are talking about uric acid salts, which, like fine sand or broken glass, settle in your tissues, turning them from soft and elastic into rigid, painful and swollen areas. Our protocol with celery seeds is not just a drink, it's a biologically active flushing system. It strikes exactly at the target, like an experienced healer who knows every hidden corner of your body. It suppresses those hidden crystallization processes that keep your metabolism in a frozen, sleeping state, preventing you from feeling light and agile. Those salts that were gluing water in your tissues, not letting it circulate properly, begin to slowly dissolve, turning into a safe solution. The pressure inside your tissues drops, and you suddenly feel how that heavy, dragging spasm you've grown accustomed to for many years finally retreats, as if a tight, long-standing knot is being untied. Your lymph system, our most important waste collector, suddenly receives a powerful electrical signal to activate its hidden ducts. This is not just water with seeds. This is an order to your cells. Stop holding water. Time to open the floodgates. Uric acid that was previously blocked in a crystalline state in your joints and around organs suddenly becomes available for elimination. You aren't just drinking an infusion, you are starting your body's engine. Your intercellular fluid stops being thick, sticky swamp slime and becomes a clean, fast flow that carries life to every point of the body. You stop feeling that nasty, constant numbness in your hands or feet in the morning because nerve endings are no longer compressed by salt crystals. Your knees, which for years worked at the limit of their capabilities, finally get a chance to sigh because cartilage inside the joints is no longer rubbing against the sharp edges of salt deposits. This isn't magic, it's pure, deep physiology that we awaken with our own hands by simply giving ourselves some attention. You will feel how life starts to flow through your veins faster, cleaner, and more joyfully. You will suddenly realize that you want to move, that you don't want to sit for hours before the TV. This is the energy that was locked inside you for years under a layer of salt armor. In the next block, I will tell you about the results of the first week. This will be the most amazing moment when you see a completely different person in the mirror for a long time, glowing from within, with shining eyes and toned skin that stopped being grey and lifeless. You will see that your face can be firm and fresh without plastic surgery and cosmetologists, simply because you stopped feeding your body salt deposits that turned tissues into a sponge for toxins. 7 days, exactly 1 week of your new lunchtime ritual with celery seeds separates you from a completely different reflection in the mirror. If you honestly, diligently took this living spoonful after every carbohydrate-rich meal, observing our 30-minute pause, then by the 8th morning, you won't recognize your body. But the most amazing, most stunning thing won't happen on the scale, not in those dry, soulless numbers that so often deceive us, but in your well-being, in how you feel your own native body in space. The first thing you will feel, your belly has become soft, pliable. Remember this hard, painful lump you've carried for years, that stuck out as if you'd swallowed a stone and that was impossible to suck in? It gave up. Our protocol dissolved the oldest salt plugs in your tissues in a week, and now your lymphatic system has started working like perfect, tuned Swiss watches. You will wake up for the first time in a long time without that unpleasant feeling of expansion, as if you'd swallowed a huge, immovable, heavy ball that kept you from even taking a deep breath. The second thing that will amaze you and your loved ones is your face. I often say lymph is the foundation of your skin and salt balance is its purity. As soon as you swept out toxins and products of improper carbohydrate metabolism from within, they stopped coming out through the pores as grayness, pigment spots, or painful puffiness. That eternal morning swelling, which makes you look older than your years, will be gone. The whites of your eyes will become clean, clear, almost porcelain, and your face skin will acquire a fresh, healthy tone as if you spent a week on a mountain resort, not in four walls under the yoke of constant diets and heaviness. Aunt Pelageya always said, "Pure inside, bright face," and she was 100% right. And now about the scale. During the first week, my girls lose from 3 to 6 kilograms, 6 to 11 pounds, and I tell you honestly, looking you in the eyes, this isn't fat in its pure form yet, this isn't muscle mass, this is that very toxic shell, the extra poisonous stagnant fluid that your inflamed, tired body held onto for years, fearing to let it go because chaos and cold reigned inside. You are literally throwing off an old poisonous burden that has weighed you down for years. Your metabolism, which previously skidded like an old engine in freezing weather, has become free, fluid and active. Now every calorie you get from food turns into vigor, movement, energy for your deeds, rather than hiding in the folds on your sides under a protective layer of salt. You will notice that your head has become clear. That fog you've lived in for years will dissipate because your blood no longer carries poisons to your brain after every meal. You have become someone else, and this is just the beginning of your return to your true self. In the next block, I will give you a final shopping list and a 14-day cleansing schedule. We will create your personal slimming calendar, which is impossible to break because the results will please you every single morning. You will see how empty, hungry cells, which previously only knew how to demand sugar and salt, suddenly fill with real energy and strength because you gave them the right tool for burning, not storing. This is the time of your transformation, the time when you reclaim your right to lightness, to beauty, and to a life full of colour, not grey days waiting for another attack of fatigue after you've simply eaten lunch.
Listen to me very carefully, my golden ones. You cannot act blindly here. We are discussing not just a forest drink, not just an innocent tea, but the most powerful biological tool that changes the work of your internal organs at the deepest cellular level. Celery seeds, this is not just a condiment for a tasty soup. This is serious medicine created by nature itself. And any strong, truly effective remedy always has its strict boundaries, its clear dosages, and its prohibitions. My herbalist mentor always told me, "Val, there is great healing in a teaspoon of seeds for your joints and belly, but a cruel blow to the kidneys in a handful." And there are categories of people for whom this recipe might not only fail to help, but seriously harm if you don't show proper caution and consult with your doctor before starting such a cleanse. The first and most important thing, if you have large stones in your gallbladder or bile ducts, categorically no stimulation. Our hot metabolism protocol forces the gallbladder to contract very intensely to drive out stagnation. If there are large stones there, they might move from their place under the pressure of this active bile, block the narrow duct,
and instead of lightness and a flat belly, you, God forbid, will end up on the operating table with an acute pain attack. If you know you have stones, first complete the course of their treatment under the strict supervision of a doctor, or simply refuse this idea. Health is first and foremost your safety, not the pursuit of a slim waist at any cost. The second is the issue of serious stomach and intestinal diseases. If you are currently in an acute stage of gastritis, if there is an open ulcer, erosion, or if you are expecting a baby, no mustard or celery in such dosages. The active essential oils of celery can cause an unpredictable reaction, stimulating the contraction of smooth muscles, which is categorically contraindicated during pregnancy. Also, be extremely careful if you suffer from severe hypotension, that is, very low blood pressure. Our method gets the blood moving, and even though it provides warmth, your blood pressure could behave unpredictably, leading to strong dizziness and weakness. And one more important rule: if you are already taking pharmacy medications for blood thinning or serious diabetes medication, remember that our method changes the speed of glucose absorption naturally. Do not allow a dangerous double blow to prevent a malfunction in your body's work. The true wisdom of a healer is always knowing the sense of proportion and your own boundaries. If you have doubts, start not with a full teaspoon, but with half. Watch your body's reaction. Listen to it. Your body will never lie to you. It's the best advisor. Health is not just beauty. It is, above all, your personal responsibility to yourself, to your life, to every step you take. If you haven't found yourself in the list of prohibitions, it means the path to a new life, to a warm and active body, is open for you. But remember, slow and steady wins the race. On the 8th day of our cabbage barrier and celery seed protocol, the most important, most decisive moment of all our work begins. Your liver has finally cleared itself of the first, thickest carbohydrate and salt load. Blood sugar levels have stopped jumping, and your body, which until this moment was in a state of deep defense, suddenly understands. Resources are being spent effectively, and we can finally get rid of old garbage reserves. Now the real hunt for deep, visceral fat begins. You ask, what is it, and why is it so insidious? Why is it so hard to lose with ordinary methods, even if you eat almost nothing? It's not at all that soft fat under the skin that we see in the mirror and can pinch with 2 fingers. It's dense, hard, very dangerous internal fat that envelops your liver, your heart, your pancreas and your intestines, literally crushing them, preventing them from breathing and working fully. That is exactly what makes your belly so hard, sticking out from below, even if you eat almost nothing. This is not just excess weight. This is a time bomb that keeps your body in a state of constant, hidden inflammation, exhausting you more than any work and stealing your vitality. Ordinary diets almost never reach this fat because it is cunningly protected. It is surrounded by a dense shell of inflammatory proteins that don't let the body burn it. The body, while your intestines were bloated with gas and bile ducts were clogged with sludge, protected these vital organs with this fat shield and wouldn't give up the fat for anything, fearing starvation. But now there is no spasm. The liver is clean. Bile is fluid, like a spring stream. Tartronic acid, which we constantly supply the body, begins to produce special enzymes, lipases. These enzymes work like tiny, sharp scissors that literally chew huge petrified fat capsules into tiny particles that the body can easily turn into fuel for the work of your heart and muscles. You will notice an amazing thing. In the 2nd week, the weight on the scale will go away slower, maybe 100 or 200 grams a day, but don't be scared and don't quit. Don't run straight to the scale. It's deceptive. It won't show the main thing. At this time, your measurements begin to melt before your eyes. Your waist begins to decrease faster than in the first days. Your belly will become soft, pliable, it will start going inward, and this is the surest sign that exactly that visceral fat is leaving. Aunt Pelagia always said that water leaves noisily and fast, but fat melts quietly, like ice in the sun. Your old jeans or trousers will begin to zip up without any effort, without that agonizing sucking in of the stomach we've all gotten used to. You will feel how easy it has become to breathe fully because fat no longer presses on the diaphragm, no longer prevents the lungs from expanding. This is the time of the most active burning. This is the time when your body starts building itself anew from the inside, turning a ticking time bomb into a source of energy. Now I will show you on a diagram how active substances of our protocol penetrate deep into the fat tissue and begin to melt this dense layer from within, like a hot knife entering a piece of butter. This is the process of true deep liberation of your body from the shackles of age and years of accumulation, a process that returns to you the strength you thought was lost forever. You feel how the internal heat wakes up within you? This is your fat factory working, burning through its own reserves to warm you and gift you a new life.
My golden ones, if you feel that after a week and a half your progress has slowed down a bit, or you just want all the active components of our protocol to work at ultimate, incredible power, I will tell you the secret that turns this drink into a real rocket engine for your metabolism. It needs a partner, a loyal ally that will help unlock all the properties of tartronic acid. Remember once and for all, active components of our elixir, organic acids, require a conductor for deep tissue penetration and for proper work in the gut, so they don't just pass through, but bring real benefits. Starting from the 10th day, I advise adding exactly 1/3 of a teaspoon of the highest quality, unrefined, cold-pressed pumpkin seed oil to your glass of water used to dilute the infusion. Why pumpkin seed oil specifically? It contains a colossal amount of rare zinc and special plant sterols that work in tandem with our acids from the infusion, creating that very dynamic emulsion that is absorbed by cells 3 times faster than plain water. This creates an amazing effect of smart cleaning, while the infusion blocks the enzymes that turn carbohydrates into fat. Pumpkin oil sends a powerful, soft signal to your gallbladder. Signal received, time to work, but gently. The gallbladder contracts in a balanced way and splashes out a portion of fresh, thick bile, which picks up the dissolved fat and carries it straight to the intestines for exit, without causing sharp spasms, but only pleasant warmth. It's like if you decided to wash very greasy dishes. The infusion is your sponge that scrubs off the dirt, and pumpkin oil is the most effective detergent that instantly binds this fat into one structure, preventing it from sticking to the walls. Together they work perfectly, like 2 halves of a whole. Besides, pumpkin oil contains rare fatty acids that gently heal all microcracks in the intestinal mucosa, making its walls smooth, healthy, and absolutely resistant to pathogenic flora, which so often prevents us from losing weight. Look at this process as a beautiful coordinated dance of molecules. You will see how active substances combine into one structure, creating a real balm for your entire organism. This isn't just food, this is an amazing dance of health in which every ingredient knows its role. But the most important here, don't overdo it.
If you pour too much pumpkin oil, you will put an unbearable load on the pancreas, and instead of the lightness of cleansing, you will get an unpleasant heaviness. 1/3 of a teaspoon is that golden measure which Aunt Pelagia derived over decades of her experiments, finding keys to our metabolism. Now I will show you under a macro camera how to correctly combine these two forces, the infusion and a drop of pumpkin oil, that turn into a powerful cleansing balm that leaves fat cells no chance of escape. And in the next block, I will reveal the secret of the rest day, why once a week we must take a pause so as not to let the body get used to our treatment and not stop the incredible metabolic breakthrough you've already achieved. Listen carefully, because this is the foundation of a long and stable result that you've dreamed of for years, looking at your reflection in the mirror with sadness.
Remember, my golden ones, one most important rule of any natural treatment that our wise grandmothers knew and that modern people so thoughtlessly forget. Medicine, no matter how effective it may be, should never become a boring, everyday routine. Otherwise, your body will simply get used to it, adapt, and stop reacting to it as something special. Aunt Pelagia, who lived a long, bright life and knew a lot about herbs, always said, "Let the earth rest after a long harvest, and it will give you a double, rich crop." The same must be done with our body, giving it a chance to restore its internal resources and rest from active enzymes and acids. Once a week, let it be Sunday, you completely cancel our morning or lunchtime ritual with the infusion. You wake up, go to the kitchen, and drink just a glass of clean, warm water. No seeds, no oils, no additives, only water. Why does our delicate biology need this? For 6 days of active intake, we constantly stimulated your metabolism. We forced the smooth muscles of your liver ducts and intestines to work. We constantly pushed our body with the active components of the infusion. And here, on the 7th day, we give your liver, pancreas, and all digestive organs a well-deserved day off. On this day, the body must launch by its own memory the very processes we taught it all week. This is a kind of exam for your body. It must show that it learned how to work independently without our crutches and stimulants. If we don't take this pause, the receptors in the intestines will get used to the active compounds and simply not react to them as if they weren't there. The effect of fat burning could stop. This is that very notorious plateau when weight freezes and doesn't want to go away despite all your efforts. But rest day doesn't mean a day of gluttony. You shouldn't break down on this day for sweets, pastries, fried meat, or fatty food. Otherwise, you will kill the entire result you worked so hard for and give your resting liver a real shock. This evening we have another special ritual aimed at support, not stimulation. We feed our new invisible residents, beneficial bacteria, on which your immunity, your slimness, and your mood depend. And the best treat for them is a baked apple. Bake 1 apple in the oven without sweetener. You can add just a tiny pinch of cinnamon. When baked, a unique substance forms in it, pectin. Look at this process through the eyes of a biologist. Pectin is the ideal prebiotic. It is the bread for your new microflora. While you are resting from the fat blocker, pectin gently heals small cracks in the intestines, nourishes your new microflora, and removes toxins.
The morning after such a rest day, you will feel not just lightness, but a real surge of strength. The skin will become even lighter, the eyes brighter, because pectin will absorb the last remnants of toxins. Now I will show you the structure of a baked apple, its transparent, jelly-like pectin fibers. This is the building material for your health, which is much more important than any stimulant. In the next block, I will show you the amazing results of my students who completed the full course and regained the lightness and flexibility they had forgotten decades ago.
My golden ones, now I want you to look very carefully, thoughtfully at these photos sent to my email by my dear student Marina. She is 63 years old, and when she first came to me, she was in total black, impenetrable despair. Marina is a very kind, bright woman, but she had a severe metabolic syndrome that literally locked her in her own body, turning joints into stiff, unmoving mechanisms. Weight 230 pounds, a huge, heavy belly that prevented her from even tying her shoelaces, and constantly aching, swollen knees that groaned with pain with every step. She came to me in tears and said, "Val, I only eat vegetables. I don't allow myself even a crumb of bread. I'm terrified to even look at a potato, but my belly grows as if it has a life of its own. I can't live like this anymore." She had that very chronic inflammation and frozen metabolism we are talking about today. She was literally poisoned from the inside by products of her own stagnant decay, because her body turned every crumb into fat and the enzymes worked against her. She was like a person living in a cage of her own weight, without strength, without joy, and without belief that tomorrow could bring anything good. We started our protocol using the infusion and seeds. Marina was surprisingly disciplined. She followed everything, from the correct selection of live products to strict adherence to the 30-minute rule after eating. She called me on the 5th day and shouted into the receiver, unable to hold back tears of joy. "Val, I allowed myself to eat some baked potatoes like you advised, and nothing happened. No bloating. I haven't felt this terrible heaviness for 5 years. This was her first most important victory over her own fear of food that poisoned every meal she ate and forced her to constantly starve. But the most interesting part started after that. A month later, look at the result. 26 pounds lost. But believe me, it's not about the scales at all, and not about those hateful numbers that used to ruin her mood every morning. This isn't just a minus. This is the return of Marina herself to a full, vibrant life that she had almost buried under a layer of salt fat and constant fear of eating something wrong. Look at her face in this photo. That grey, painful shadow that made her look like an old woman is gone. The skin has tightened, the facial oval has become clear, her eyes sparkle with that very mischievous spark we all had in our youth when we were healthy and full of strength. She wrote to me in a letter, "Val, for the first time in 20 years I feel like a feather. I don't walk, I fly. I can climb to the 3rd floor and not get out of breath. I'm wearing my favorite dresses that were gathering dust in the closet again." When you block the transformation of carbohydrates into fat with tartronic acid, you don't just lose weight, you throw off the burden of old diseases that chained you to the sofa for years. After a course of this simple but brilliant protocol, my girls get rid of chronic fatigue, their joints stop aching because their blood has become clean, not thick from sugar.
The belly doesn't stand like a stone. It becomes soft, pliable, it goes inward, and you finally, after many years, see your waist in the mirror. This is the greatest reward a woman can get when your body stops being your prison and turns into a reliable, obedient instrument that gives you the joy of every movement. Now I will show you on a diagram how a clean, not clogged with carb garbage organism starts absorbing vitamins and minerals from food 3 times more efficiently. You will understand why after this course you need half the food to feel completely full and satisfied. Marina is not an exception. This is the rule. This is what awaits every one of you if you show patience, discipline, and take this small but so important step towards your true health. My golden ones, now you have in your hands the complete, detailed instruction to your new, light, free of salt glue life, where potatoes, bread, or any carbohydrate are no longer enemies but a source of energy. So you start this path tomorrow without a single mistake. Let's gather our protocol into one simple, clear cheat sheet. You can take a screenshot of this screen right now, or take your notebook and write everything down point by point so you don't miss a single important detail. Believe me, this is the very map that will lead you to your goal if you follow it without haste, day after day, with love for your organism. Your entire fat protection kit will cost you less than 1 box of the simplest pharmacy pills, but the benefits are worth 1,000,000 because you are investing in your liver, your vessels, your future youth, which can and must be regained at any age if you know the right key. Tomorrow, find real, live ingredients. This is your first, most important investment. Make sure everything is whole, smooth, clean, without any additives or preservatives. If you can't find it in a store, it's time to prepare it yourself with care. This will be your metabolic safe, storing your precious assets in their most active form. Buy a glass jug with a tight lid to store it in a cool place so it retains all its power for long weeks. Your 14-day schedule is your law of transformation that cannot be broken for even 1 day. The first week is a time for delicate tuning and flushing the tissues. To ensure your pancreas doesn't experience shock from the fact that enzymes started working differently, we take only the minimum dose. Drink strictly 30 minutes after your biggest meal where there were carbohydrates. In this time, your gut, your villi are just starting to get acquainted with this new defender. They are learning to block extra calories without panic or spasms. The second week is a time for big cleaning and active fat burning. We move to full dose, the same amount, but now combined with our accelerator of healthy oils about which I told you. It is during these second 7 days that our protocol will reach the deepest petrified fat deposits that have been sitting in your body's folds for years, not letting you lose weight despite all the diets. An important condition that many forget: drink always diluted with warm water in small sips, stretching this process over a couple of minutes. And throughout the day, your law is 1.5 to 2 liters of clean water to help the body flush out fat breakdown products. Look at this process as launching a complex, high-tech filtration system in your own home. In the first 3 days, the excess poisoned water will leave. By the 7th day, your blood will become cleaner. You will feel how your heart beats more calmly, without overload. By the 14th day, your belly will become soft, flat, and pliable, and that stony discomfort that has plagued you for years will disappear. I will show you under a macro camera what perfectly prepared ingredients look like so you don't make a mistake. You will see the purity of every particle and understand health is not a luxury, it's just order and right habits. But remember, my dearlings, not one spoonful of sugar, not one piece of rich bread in these 2 weeks. Otherwise, our fat blocker, instead of protection, will have to fight decay and sugar spikes. In the next block, I will answer the most important questions: what to do if you need to leave home, and how to lock in this incredible result forever so the glacier never returns.
My golden ones, over the last week while we were preparing this important issue, you simply flooded me with your questions. Let's answer the most important, most pressing ones right now, so you have no doubts about the correctness of your choice, so you feel confident on this path to warmth and slimness without starvation. People often ask, Val, can I drink this infusion if I have a tendency to bloat? Won't I get worse from the salt? My dears, this is the most common fear, but let's use logic. You bloat not from the fact that you received a little natural salt, but because your lymph is standing like a swamp since it has accumulated a sea of sugar and insulin. As soon as we trigger the process of blocking carbohydrates, your body begins to shed that extra water it was holding on to as a safety ring. If you drink enough clean water, 2 liters a day, salt from the infusion won't linger in the tissues. It will help conduct an electrolyte reset of the cells. But if you have serious kidney diseases, stop. No infusion without a doctor's approval. Heal your kidneys first, restore filtration, and then we will deal with metabolism. Health is safety above all. The second question I get every day, can I replace the real infusion with the one sold in pretty bottles at the supermarket? No, no, and no again. In 90% of cases, there is vinegar. Acetic acid is not our active acid. Vinegar is an aggressor. It corrodes the stomach walls. It doesn't give the fat-blocking effect that proper ingredients provide. Supermarket products are a direct path to gastritis, not a slim waist. If there is even the slightest opportunity, prepare it yourself with your own hands without a single extra ingredient. This is your energy that you put into your own healing, not settling for chemical surrogates. The third question, and if I missed one day because of a trip or forgetfulness, is everything ruined? Nothing terrible will happen, my good ones. Don't panic. Just continue with the next meal. The main thing is not to quit entirely. Metabolism is like a heavy pendulum on an antique clock. If you've swung it once, it will continue moving by inertia for a long time. Even if you missed a couple of times, you're not starting from zero, you're simply returning to your rhythm. And one more fear. Val, won't my blood pressure rise? You understand, blood pressure most often rises because the blood is thick from sugar and vessels are clogged with bad cholesterol. When we remove insulin spikes with the help of this protocol, the vessels become softer, they stop spasming. My students' blood pressure, on the contrary, often returns to normal on this protocol because the excess load on the heart is gone. This is a sign of true recovery, not illness. Ask your questions in the comments. I will choose the most interesting ones for the next issue. Don't be afraid to change, because inside every one of you sleeps a beauty who just needs a little help to wake up. And we will definitely do it together, step by step, day by day, nourishing every cell with what the earth itself gave us.
My golden ones, my dear people, now this great secret of our ancestors, this wisdom of the earth, this metabolic shield, and the secret of blocking the fat conveyor is entirely in your hands. I want you to realize one simple but incredibly important thing. You aren't just cleansing, you aren't just revving up your metabolism, you are doing something much greater. You are in essence liberating your life from that weight, from that sludge burden that for years didn't let you truly breathe with a full chest, enjoy every day, and feel light like in your youth. Many of us at our age have gotten used to humbly thinking that constant fatigue, persistent shortness of breath, aching joints, and this bulging, immovable belly is some inevitable norm, a cross we must carry to the very end. But I beg you, don't believe it. Don't believe those who say that after 60, life is just a sunset, waiting for old age and eternal refusal of tasty food. Your body is an incredibly smart, subtle mechanism, capable of infinite self-repair. You just need to help it a little, give it the right impulse, give it the very key we talked about so long, so detailed and so sincerely today. Your body wants to be slim. Your pancreas dreams to work again in a calm, natural rhythm, so you feel a surge of energy, not a desire to lie down an hour after lunch. Give your body this chance today, right now, and I promise you it will reward you with an energy you perhaps forgot you could ever dream of. Start tomorrow. Prepare this with love, collect this live elixir, and take that first sip of freedom. And a week from now, looking at your soft, fallen belly, at your fresh, clear face, you will say thank you to yourself. Your new life begins not on Monday, not on New Year's, but with this cup taken after lunch. Write to me right now in the comments who among you is ready to head out tomorrow for real ingredients and launch your own internal metabolic protection with me. I read every one of your words, I feel every one of your messages, and I sincerely, with all my heart, pray for every one of you, that everything works out, that the heaviness leaves, and the joy of movement and lightness in every step returns. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell, because next Thursday I will reveal another secret from my old notebook. I will show you the iodine butterfly recipe, which will help wake up your thyroid gland. This is another small trick that will return the spark to your eyes and tighten the skin on your neck better than any expensive cosmetic intervention. Be healthy, be light, be young at heart, my dear ones. Remember, nature loves us. It gave us everything for healing. We only need to reach out. See you in our new, clean, light and happy life. Your Valentina.